Yeah, good day, good day. Mr. Moreri here, bringing you this series of lectures on our YouTube page, Moreri Enterprises. Now let's go. Today we're introducing grammar. Grammar is just the order and the forms of words and the way we arrange them to make meaningful sentences, or you say. And then tenses is just the grammar of verbs. Sometimes our tenses will show time, they will show duration, like in the continuous or progressive tense, and also completion, like in the perfect tense. Now, those are technical words, but we want to present an engineering approach to learning this, okay? First question, how many forms of verbs are there? Every verb have forms. That's part of grammar here, forms, right? Now, every verb has 5 forms, except the verb to be, which has 8 forms. And now the 8 forms are be, am, is, are, was, were, been, and being. And then for the verb to eat, the 5 forms are eat, eats, ate, eating, eat, eaten, and eating, right? And the forms of verbs, they have a name. If you see a verb written like to eat, to be, to play, that is the infinitive form. And most likely it will still be this infinitive form minus the to. That will be the first form of the verb, which I will call the I, you, we, they form, because you will say I play, you play, we play, they play. I, you, we, they form. And then the second form, plays, is called the he, she, it form. It's, studies. And you can also say the third person singular form, and or sometimes they can say the plural form of the verb, because it has s, and this one is a singular form of the verb. Like so many different names, but I like to give the practical name. This is the I, you, we, they form of the present tense, and this is the he, she, it form of the present tense. Then studied is the past form of the verb, the past form of the verb. And then studied is the past participle of the verb. And you will also learn something about past participle. It is not used alone. You have to say have studied. And then studying is the present participle, which is be studying, but we conjugate the be, like we transform the be. The second video of this series will explain all that. So again, you should know the 5 forms of the verb: the I, you, we, they form, the he, she, it form, the past form, the past participle, and the present participle or ing form. All right. Then now, before we even delve into grammar, there's a lot of confusion. Now, what is tense? Tense is the grammar of verbs, right? But what is the definition of tense? Now, before I would define tense in the next video, first here, I would like you to understand the meaning of a tense verb. You say, oh, teacher, why do you say tense verb? Yeah, not every verb in a sentence is a tense verb, okay? Now, I will put, let me bring in a sentence here. I like to eat. Okay, I like to eat. Now, in this sentence, we have 2 verbs, right? We have like and eat. Now, like and eat, but the only tense verb here is the verb like. And you say, teacher, so how do we pick out the tense verb in a sentence? This video is all about the tense verb. Now, to pick out the tense verb in a sentence, we must define tense. Now, what is a tense? Now, a tense is what is a tense verb? A tense verb is the verb that changes when 2 things occur. Now, the 2 things that would likely make a tense verb to change, they are this: the person doing the action, called the subject. If the subject changes and this verb changes, then that verb is the tense verb. If the other verbs do not change, they are not the tense verb. For example, if I change my I to she, this sentence becomes she likes to eat. All right? The sentence becomes she likes to eat. So you see, and this likes become the second form of the verb to like, which is the third person singular form. So if you know your forms of verb, then you will start to follow me here without any problem. Now, let's go. If I change the time of action, so that's the second thing. If I change the subject, meaning the person doing the action, the naming part of the sentence, which names the person doing the action. So she likes, I like. So that is the I, you, we, they form. They like, we like, you like, I, you, we, they like, he, she, it likes. So if we change the subject to these two groups, we'll likely change the form of verb. Now, if I change the time, oh, like she liked to eat apples. She liked to eat apples. Yeah, that's when she was living in America. She liked to eat apples. So an action in the past. So the form changed to the past form of the verb. So we've seen three forms of the verb here. We've seen like, likes, liked. So the time of action changes, and we get the change here. The subject changed from I to she, and we go from like to likes in the present. All right, so again, this makes this verb the tense verb. To eat does not change in all the circumstances. Now, can you go and explore these other sentences here as homework and see that the tense verb here is eat. The tense verb here is not eating. She is eating. If you change the time, she was eating, right? Now here, I have not eaten dinner. If you change the I to she has not eaten dinner. So have will change. Eating does not change. So eating is a verb in this sentence. Have is another verb in this sentence, but have is the tense verb. If you go here, you find out that has is the tense verb, and it will change. Can you dance? If I was asking you yesterday, could you dance? So can will change to could. If I say, will you dance? If I ask you about yesterday, I will say, did you dance? If I ask about today, I will say, do you dance? So the will change to do. The will can change to did. And if I ask you like, oh, will you dance? She asked. She asks. Then if I say, would you dance? She asked. So if I change this, if she asked here in the past, then it will still be will you dance? She asked, because it's in the past asked. But if I change it to reported speech, I will say she asked if I would dance, right? So the will change to would. All right, so this is the end of this. Now the highlights here are: one, do you know the 5 forms of each verb? Do you know be verb has 8 forms? If you know this, then you are ready to learn tenses, because tenses is the grammar of what? The grammar of verbs, and verbs deals with the order of the words and the forms that will change and then will convey our meaning. Our meaning could be a positive sentence, it could be a negative sentence, it could be a question sentence, right? And you see that if you say I like to eat. What is the question? Do you like to eat? So the do goes to the front, and then do comes. I do not like to eat. The do comes back. So the order of arrangement, right? The way we combine words, that is grammar, and the forms of words. If it's a noun, you'll be talking about singular, plural, proper, common, and all that. You talk about adjectives, talking about comparative superlatives, talking about adverbs. You talk about conjunction, prepositions, and all that. So forms of verb, and then the arrangement in a sentence to make meaningful sentences. And if we tweak arrangement, meanings may change, right? So again, we are here studying Moreri English. Things have to be very clear. A lot of students, if you ask them how many forms of verbs are there, they might not likely give you the correct answer. And again, before we start introducing tenses in the next video, you have to know what a tense verb is. A tense verb is the verb that changes when 2 things change, the subject or the time of action. Thank you. It's been Sese Moreri.